Hello everyone, I want to welcome you to another QuikStor University webinar. We'd like to thank you so much for coming today. We're going to be talking about the exciting topics of using the word processor in QuikStor Express and also some of the features of the calendar and the reminder system that we have put in place. So want to get right into it. It's going to be a pretty quick webinar today. We're going to be covering these couple topics which you will find very useful. And we definitely encourage you to play with these two features on your own time, get used to them. We'd love if you are on support and would like to ask us questions about it. We'd love to answer your questions and provide you some FAQs if you need to. Although most of the information that I'm going to share will be is included in the manual that you already have a copy of. But we're going to go ahead and jump right in here with the word processor. And so right now we're looking at the QuikStor Express screen, and I'm just going to go up here to the Tools bar. Now if you're not using the modern view, you would still select the Tools drop-down, and word processing is going to be right there at the top, and that's where we're going to be spending a few minutes here right now. But for those of you using the modern view, you can see how I'm selecting it. Select Tools, and we're going to jump over here to word processing. Now what's going to appear is going to be a list of the notices that are in the system as of right now. This can include custom notices if you have placed them in here, although most of the time these are just the default notices from us. But what I'm going to show you is just some of the basics on how to edit some of these documents, the ones that would be most edited, and also how to do things like add your logo to your receipts or your invoices, and so you can add some further customization and just some branding to what you send out to your customers. So let's go ahead and open up a real basic document. We're just going to go ahead and go to the receipt, which every customer making a payment is going to get from you. I'm going to go ahead and select it, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select Design, which is going to open up the editor. And so as you can see, this is going to be showing us what the receipt looks like in the word processing editor here. So I know it looks quite cumbersome and confusing, but if you just stick with some of the basics that I'm going to share with you today, you'll be perfectly fine. And again, we do have some documents that can walk you through some of the things I'm going to show you, and we'd love to have you email us so we can send those to you if you would like. But the basic gist here is that you're going to have the option to edit things that are in the white boxes, and you can stretch these boxes if you'd like to make them fit more information or to fit smaller information at your discretion. But when you select a box, you have the option to change the sizes. When you just select a box on its own, you can drag and drop it to a different location and not move its size. But the gray areas is area where you can you won't be able to click on anything, but you can drag or drop a text box, which you can use here, over here on the left-hand side, or an image. And the image is what we're actually going to do right now. So what I want to do, I'm going to show you that we're going to create some space up in this top right-hand corner for a logo, and we're just going to very simply do that by moving these couple boxes down here. And again, I'm just using the left click on my mouse and dragging them down, just like you would in Microsoft Word or other Windows programs. I'm just going to go ahead and create a little bit of space up here on top so that I can add a nice logo right here for my facility. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to the little picture icon, and it says Insert Picture. I'm going to go ahead and select that, and then I'm going to tell it where I want it to go. So I'll drag, create a little space just like that. And so now we have a picture box, and it's going to ask us to load a particular picture. Now I already have some files on here with some logos that I've already put in, but we'll go ahead and just put that right there, and voila. We have our QuikStor logo that has been posted onto our receipt. Now, without saving this, we can actually preview it very easily by simply clicking the preview button right here, and we'll see what it looks like in the final version. Now, it's obviously not going to be pulling any tenant information, but this allows us to see the spacing, allows us to see how it lays out, and this looks perfectly fine. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to go ahead and close this, and then I'm going to go ahead and save it so that this is now saved as the receipt. Now, if I were to try to close this before saving it, it will ask me if I want to save it first, which is a little feature that we put in there just to keep you from writing over your work or forgetting to save it. But since I have saved it, it's not going to ask me. But now when I go to preview that with an existing tenant's information, we'll be able to see that and have it populate with everything that's there. So we see the receipt number, the date is actually listed there, the amounts are listed there instead of the little bracketed fields. But you can see how that took under 30 seconds to add the logo and how it does make a big difference, just adding that small little bit of color to the page so that your customers can see this on a regular basis and know that they're getting something from you that does look nice and professional. But on that same note of customization, there are a number of letters inside the software that you can and would want to customize. The light version does only allow for you to customize a couple things, mainly the pre-lien and the lien sale notice. Those would be legal documents that you would have to modify to meet your state requirements. But another common thing that people like to do is create a custom letter, something that would be for a specific reason. Maybe you are going to be resurfacing the property and you need to send out a letter to all the customers and you want to just draft something real quick. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and just select this resurface letter. I'll click design, but I want to show you guys real quickly here how you can put in the merge fields, if you will, that will pull from the site data or the tenant data and put them into your letters, which you see here as in brackets. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to select this text box here by double-clicking it, which is going to open up the text editor. And this text editor is going to allow me to, in addition to adding these bracketed fields, it will allow me to type anything I want here. So I can just continue to type. I can write something out. But what I really want to show you is how to create and add these fields here, which are actually going to pull the name of your site, the address of your site, the city, state, and zip code accordingly. And so the way we access those is selecting right here the expression. Okay, so it's going to open our expression builder, and then from here we're going to go ahead and select the variable, which is the middle icon. And then from here it's just a very basic list of things that we have to select from. As you can see, we already have listed the ones that are right here on top, and those are the ones that we would be using in this particular case. But there are a number of things that you would find very useful for you when you're going to create a notice or a letter that you'd be writing to your customer base. So if you want to sign it at the end and put the manager name, you want to put the date in there, the label of their unit, the name of the tenant. You can obviously add these things at your discretion, and by simply selecting the item you want to add and clicking OK, it's going to go ahead and add that in wherever you had your cursor at last. So if we went ahead and saved this, just like that, now it did go ahead and add that tenant state right below here. And I know that that's a completely useless item, but I'm going to go ahead and preview it just so you can see. And you can see that the state is shown right there. So we'll go ahead and remove that from this template because we're not going to be needing it. But you can see how when you go to create a custom letter and you're going to add in the dates or whatever you'd be adding in down here below, that you can add in the merge fields for the unit number, the tenant name, so you can have a completely customized letter for each of your tenants with just a little bit of work to make it the same for all of them. So very easy to use system here. One thing I do also want to point out, if you want to use bolding or underlining, this does work on a box basis. So when you, if you see that I'm selecting this entire box here, unlike Microsoft Word, you don't have the option to select text. You can only select an entire box. And so when I select the bold icon here, it's going to bold everything in this box. If you need to create just a separate box to bold one sentence or a paragraph, you would need to create its own itemized box for that. And obviously these boxes can butt up right next to each other, so it does seem like they are one continuous paragraph, even though they are three separate items that may have different formatting. And that would be the same for underlining and italics. So when you do, if you ever use these in your letters, please understand that they do take effect on the entire box that you have selected. So that's just something to keep in mind right there. But apart from that, the word processor is very easy to use, and if you ever have doubts about it, again, the preview button is real easy, and once you close out of here, I'm not going to save this because I don't want to keep the changes, but once you test something, you can always go back and preview it with an existing tenant to see what it looks like. And what this will do is this is going to go ahead and pull the information from QuikStor Express right into the software and into the letter, so that you can see what it looks like when it would be sent out to the actual customer. So a couple really easy things about the word processor there, and all of your custom letters would be listed here. And let me show you real quickly. Once you have a custom letter created, under your tenant tab or your tenant dropdown, you can then send out that custom letter. All your custom letters will be listed here. So if we click our resurface letter, we can select the tenant that we want this letter to be generated for. We can filter them by these three filters. We have former tenants, delinquent tenants, and existing tenants. Existing tenants would be the one that we'd use for this particular resurface letter. You can set them all. So we'll send that to all of our customers, or if we just want to remove a couple of them, and we can preview this letter. It's going to go ahead and show us what this letter would look like for that customer. Very straightforward. And then we can print it, or if we wanted to email it out to everyone, we could do it that way. Bottom line is you have the options to customize these letters and send them out to your customers in one of a couple different ways that makes it more efficient and easy for you to conduct business. Now, the other thing that we wanted to talk about today was going to be having to do with the calendar functions of QuikStor and the reminder systems that are here. We have put in a calendar into the program that has very useful features for day-to-day operations. A calendar is quite useful if you don't use one for keeping track of things that you have to get done and just for reminding yourself on what needs to take place on a day-to-day basis. But the calendar does get broken down into a week or a day reminder system over here, and then as you select each day, it will come down with a breakdown for the hours over here on the right-hand side. You can adjust the increments as to what this is sorted by over here. We'll just go ahead and leave it at 15 minutes as a nice round number there. But you can add any reminder or add an activity to the calendar by simply double-clicking on the time over here on the right, and it'll bring up the appointment screen. Now you can change the date from here if you wanted to make it for a different date next month. If you want to make it for today, you can do that. You can set a specific time that you want it to be noted for. And then you can also set a reminder. Now you can set a reminder for 15 minutes in advance or 0 minutes in advance. Either way, it's going to pop up with a little window here in the middle of the screen and say, hey, this is going on, and then you can either dismiss it, snooze it, at your discretion when that does pop up. But we'll go ahead and set a reminder here, and we'll just go ahead and set it for, let's just set it for 11:16, 0 minutes. So that alarm will pop up on our screen. Now, a couple of the ways that you can access the calendar features and some other ways that the calendar is useful would definitely be for things like the incoming phone calls and the waiting list, so people that would be expiring on the waiting list. But a very useful feature would be that if someone calls in inquiring about a unit and you want to follow up with them about it, what you can do is you can set yourself a reminder to follow up with that person at a later date, so that if that person called in asking for a particular size unit or some other question that you needed to look into, you can set yourself a reminder right there on the call, and so you're not going to forget it in the future. So let's just say we do take a call from a new customer, and this person called in, and they were asking about your hours here, but they weren't really sure what they were going to be, if they were going to be renting a unit, so you wanted to go ahead and follow up with them. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. Click Add a Reminder, Susan Johnson, and we'll set this reminder. Now, it went ahead and put this a week ahead, which is perfectly fine, So we'll go ahead and leave that there. The reminder has been created, and we'll click OK. And if we jump over into our calendar, we'll look ahead to next week. And we can see there's the call for Susan Johnson set right there. So very easy to make those changes, and you can see how if you start to fill your calendar with those things, that they can be very helpful for just making sure that you are staying on task. And for owners and managers that may have people working underneath them, you can also see the calendar activities on the daily report. I want to go ahead and show you. I already have an entry in here for yesterday, and as you guys all know, the daily report is a summary snapshot of the last completed day of business. And so it's going to always be for the day before. So in our case, it's going to be for yesterday. So we're going to go ahead. Now, I'm creating notices or reminders for yesterday. I know you probably wouldn't be doing that, but I want to show you guys how you would be able to follow up with a manager or someone that would be responsible to take care of these duties just by looking at the daily report. So let's just say we wanted to create a task for 10 a.m. to call delinquents. And we'll go ahead and set that for February 14th. And we'll leave that just like that. Okay, so we'll go over here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run my daily report for yesterday. And again, you guys know the daily report is a snapshot. But you'll see right down there at the bottom, we have our reminders for the calendar. We have reorder boxes that was listed there, and then the call delinquents. And so these are just some simple tasks that will be listed, and you as the owner or operating manager will be able to follow up with whoever will be responsible for these tasks, and you can simply ask, hey, did you reorder the boxes like you were supposed to yesterday? Did you follow up on the delinquent calls like you were supposed to yesterday? And it gives you that accountability and the manager the accountability to make sure that those tasks are taken care of. So with just a couple small tricks that you can take advantage of in the word processor, just a couple things like using the merge fields and those bracketed fields that you can pull information from QuikStor Express. You can make some very useful letters and use them to enhance your customer service and obviously communicate with your tenant base. And regarding the calendar functions, there's a lot of neat things that you can add and take advantage of when you are on top of the daily tasks that you don't have to constantly remind yourself to do. We would love to answer any questions you'd have about these things, and we will have some FAQs available. If you are interested in getting those FAQs, please feel free to either email support@QuikStor or webinar@QuikStor.com. We'd love to send back the word process document, as well as having you check out the pages in your manual regarding both of these features. And once again, thank you so much for your time. We thank you for being a part of QuikStor, and have a great day today.